Hello, hello. Good afternoon. So we'll keep it rolling for our next panel, DeFi in LatAm, a topic that's actually near and dear to my heart. And so I'll introduce our moderator, Cush.
Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you all firstly managed to find the stage, because we were walking around for like 40 minutes trying to find where this place was. So thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. So my name is Cush, and I'm really excited to have a really diverse set of panelists today who are all going to go ahead and introduce themselves. Before kicking off, I want to just start with a really quick anecdote on why DeFi in Latin America, and this will be, I think the question to kick us all off, like just at a really high level, like why are you excited for DeFi in Latin America? But I wanted to buy a car a couple of years ago, and I was looking around like, hey, where can I buy a car? Okay, cool, I found a car, and then I was like, how can I get a loan, Maybe Sajan, you're smiling because I think you've heard this story before. And so I went to my bank and I was like, hey, bank, can I get a loan for my car? Like, yeah, sure, you've got some money in the bank account, and yeah, it's 22% interest rate a year, and it's going to take about 3 weeks to issue you the loan. And I was like, oh shit, okay, all right, well, let's see what I can do in DeFi. So I went on Liquidity, which is one of my favorite DeFi protocols, and I took out an interest rate free is what they peg themselves as, but really it's a 0.5% interest rate loan. And that in and of itself, even just like with the on and off ramping, et cetera, is like an order of magnitude better experience than taking a loan out with a bank. And I think that's just like one anecdote and one example of why DeFi is super important in Latin America, right? It just allows us to, and I think just generally DeFi is important, but I think particularly in countries across Latin America where financial systems are just absolute shit, sorry for the language here, but it's pretty horrible, right? Like the financial systems we have, Argentina, right? Mexico has seen huge inflation recently, Venezuela, I'm really excited for this conversation, just like a really, and please, if you have any questions as well, we'll leave some time for questions at the end. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just pass it down the line here, and you can all introduce yourselves. Where are you from? What are you doing here? And why are you excited for DeFi in Latin America?
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm Anna. I'm community lead, growth lead for Eigen Foundation. We are supporting the Eigen layer ecosystem. And yeah, well, I'm from Mexico. I've been in the ecosystem for 4 years, I believe, or 5. I've been growing communities in Latin America. I started Ethereum Mexico and support the Ethereum Foundation with a lot of communities across LatAm. And then I was part of the Arbitrum team for 2 years, and now I'm in Eigen Foundation. And why I'm excited for DeFi in Latin America, well, I want to share something personal as well. Like, I used to be a freelancer, so one of the times that I was getting paid in US dollars, basically I was super excited because that was my first interaction with this. I used a platform, and that took me like $20 just for that transaction. So that is a lot. So then I learned about crypto, and now I'm realizing that I can get any amount, anytime, whenever I want, for just fees, like for dollars, like 0.5 cents or something, or even that $1. But compared to $20, imagine that. Like these $20 for families in Latin America can mean like a full meal per day, or maybe for a week. So this is super impactful. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm super excited about.
Andres Fleischer here from Argentina. I'm in the crypto space since 2012, so a long time ago. I'm part of Ripio. Ripio is one of the largest crypto exchanges, crypto company, let's say, in Latin America, born in Argentina, but now well spread across Latin America. I also lead Ripio Ventures, which is our venture side. And well, thank you for inviting me here. I would like to differ. Argentina used to have serious economic issues, and now it's getting better. Our currency, the peso argentino, appreciated like 40% the last year, something like that. Of course, coming out from the floor, but still. But yes, we suffer a lot of inflation, like almost 300% inflation last year. So that's probably the reason why in Argentina there's a huge adoption of DeFi solutions. Mainly, I would say for cross-border payments. Even though Argentina's financial system is getting better and fintech products are getting better and more used in my country, there's still a lot of friction for cross-border payments, which then companies are fixing this using stable coins and then investing with those stable coins and then borrowing from lending protocols. So that's what we are seeing right now in Argentina that is trending. I have some other things, but we can talk later.
Hey everyone, my name is Saj. I'm originally from Mexico, and yeah, my name is not Mexican at all. I'm half Indian, half Mexican. I've been in the space for 4 years. I joined in late 2020 to work for Badger DAO. You may have heard of. It's a DAO focused on bringing Bitcoin to DeFi. I kept the same mission, but then I transitioned recently to work for Corn over here. It is a layer 2 you may have heard of as well. It is an Ethereum layer 2, but it's Bitcoin focused. It uses BTCN, a synthetic Bitcoin as gas token, and then through some other innovation, it's built and designed to be the best place for BTCFi to flourish. And I'm very excited for DeFi in LatAm. Well, I am from there, and I've seen the inefficiencies of the system, as we've heard here, is something everybody in LatAm experiences. And you know, through building in this ecosystem for a while, you learn that there's other ways of doing things, and also you learn that fundamentally the economic machine in the world in general, it's broken in many ways, and we can learn from the way the fundamentals work in crypto. And yeah, Latin America has different countries have all sorts of different issues, and I think crypto in general can help a lot. But DeFi specifically, right now, it's already helping a lot of people. It's empowering, and I'm excited to be helping push that forward because it'll just unlock lots of potential.
Hello, my name is Jesus. I'm originally from Venezuela, but I'm living in London. I've been in the space part-time 3-4 years, but I've been full-time for a year. Before this, I was a director of structured products in a large bank in London. I am currently building a protocol called HODL protocol, where we are opening access to everyone to top hedge fund institutional grade strategies that so far have only been offered to the elite on Wall Street and in London. So what we're trying to do is, instead of you having to have 5 million and having friends in the hedge fund industry in order to be able to invest in one of these strategies, we want anyone with a wallet to be able to access to any of these across the world. And the reason why I'm excited about DeFi in LatAm is 2 words: liquidity aggregation. I am from Venezuela, a country that many of you know that is a failed state these days. And among other things, one of the big problems there is that there is no access to literally any banking product. There is no even credit. The only way you can buy a house in Venezuela is with cash. And guess what? Who has cash? Basically no one, especially in a country that is bankrupt. And you can search this online if you don't believe me. You can buy for $7,000 a 2-bed, 2-bathroom apartment in the front of one of the best beaches in Venezuela for $7,000 because no one is buying anything because there is no credit. Now, if you have DeFi, the beautiful thing about DeFi is that you finally are creating a unique global platform where you can get a loan from someone in Colombia, Argentina, Nicaragua, and actually have access to the financial products that you need in order to buy a home and to have a normal life. So in countries particularly like Venezuela and many across Latin America, aggregation of liquidity will lower the price of the car, of the loan of the car, right? Because it was 22% because you were only able to get a loan from banks in your country, but not from banks in Mexico or Colombia or United States. DeFi solves that.
Nice. So we got a really diverse set of folks here on the stage and across literally the entire region. The other use case, so we mentioned inflation resistance, we mentioned stablecoins, we mentioned payments, liquidity aggregation, credit as well. The other really interesting one is tokenization. And I think one of so we bought a piece of land like 3 years ago, and 3 years later, I'm waiting for one damn piece of paper from some stupid court in my country that hasn't been processed yet for us to finalize the details. It's stupid. And so it's just like all of these inefficiencies that I'm so deeply frustrated by when it comes to just governance and financial systems in the region. I think a question, maybe, I think, Andres, you've been in this space for super long time. You guys look at a ton of deals. You work for one of the biggest crypto companies in Latin America. What do you think is the biggest challenge for us to scale DeFi adoption in Latin America?
DeFi adoption or real world assets adoption?
I think across the board, right? Like, I'm curious to get your takes, because you guys look at a ton of deals with Ripio Ventures as well,
Yeah.
right? Like, where are the main friction points and a lot of the kind of problems that you're seeing?
No, that's a good question. DeFi adoption, I think the main challenge is for people to get in. So probably better ramps to DeFi, better infrastructure is a way to do it. Ripio, for example, is offering people right now to access a DeFi product in a couple of clicks, which is typically impossible for an Argentina, for example, to invest in a DeFi protocol. I mean, you need to have a lot of knowledge of what they are doing and handle wallets and protocols and things and bridges and a lot of things that are not easy to do. And in the case of real-world assets, I would also want to reply to that. I think it's lack of regulation. Because that's what you said. You depend on a bureaucrat to give you some paper to do some things. Tokenization can help with that, absolutely. But the problem is that you also need it has to be a regulated company because it's typically assets that are already regulated. It's still early in Argentina and Latin America for real-world assets, I guess. Not as in the US, where we have a lot of adoption of real-world assets, but I hope it changes soon.
Nice. Yeah, I think regulation, it's coming. I mean, I feel like regulation definitely every day is coming online, and we see a lot of movement in Brazil. Mexico is a really strong regulatory body when it comes to crypto. Argentina seems to be wanting to bring a lot more robust regulation to crypto, or deregulation, perhaps you might say. The other interesting item specific to Latin America is Bitcoin, right? So the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender was El Salvador. I was just up there a couple of weeks ago. Practically no one uses it. In fact, they hate using it. But Saj, give us like some insights on like why Bitcoin, why is it taken off in the region, you know, and what do you think is the opportunity for Bitcoin in LatAm?
Yeah, I think my perspective in Bitcoin is probably not the hottest take, especially because you just gave an example of the application of Bitcoin in the way that people intended. You know, Bitcoin as a payment method, it's not what Bitcoin is the best for. I don't think Bitcoin has a big role to play in Latin America as a store of value, you know, as it has in the rest of the world. We have spoken about places with hyperinflation, places where just you don't know if your retirement will be there by the time you retire, you know, because there's corruption, there's just infrastructure that just breaks and you cannot trust. So having access to an asset that, you know, is just the best store of value ever created, and giving that access to people is, I think, a big unlocking force. And I think is already one of the biggest drivers of crypto just in general in Latin America. I just learned today that it is the largest, by far, held crypto asset in Mexico, which makes a lot of sense, right? It is the largest crypto asset. So you can tell in it's proportionally in all countries that's the case. And but yeah, I think by itself, Bitcoin it's just that. Great store of value, but as more people start holding it, as more people start to get exposed to it, and count on it as a means of preserving their heritage, their hard work, value generated, and wealth, I think Corn and DeFi through Corn can play a big role in powering it forward. Corn, what it is, as I said, a layer 2 that it's based and focused on. Being the best place for Bitcoin finance to flourish. It uses a synthetic BTC as gas token. And what that means is that it puts Bitcoin at the gas pedal. It means that Bitcoin is a protagonist. It means that Bitcoin has the largest liquidity, and means that Bitcoin can have the most applications at scale. We've partnered with multiple of the most established protocols to launch there. There's Curve, Uniswap, Morpho, Euler, Avalon. So The money Legos are there so that you not only have the efficiency of an arbitrum-orbit chain, so that people can use a synthetic Bitcoin asset, with cheap gas fees and speed, but also you have a very strong foundational DeFi money Legos, so that you can do so with trust, with security, with the linearness that these provide, and that's what we want to enable, right? Through Corn, we can scale a Bitcoin economy, especially for these places that are already counting in Bitcoin as that value, and they're using Bitcoin as that entrance to the crypto world, right? So yeah, I think that's my take
Nice.
there.
How do you all see Bitcoin being used in like your respective countries? Any insights on what role Bitcoin plays in this whole DeFi world in the region?
Yeah, well, for Mexico, to be honest, there is the most important exchange in Mexico is called Bitso. So Bitso, like most of their users, like 70%, I guess, they are holding Bitcoin. And yeah, to me, this makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Like, of course, this was the first blockchain. Like, if you go into Google and you type crypto, the first thing you see is educational content about Bitcoin, and educational content about crypto and Bitcoin. You see a lot of this in Spanish, so that's one why. And of course, there is a lot of like KOLs or influencers. Like one of the richest people in Mexico, Salinas, he is like the biggest KOL about Bitcoin in Mexico. So that's making a lot of sense, to be honest. But yes, just one tip for everyone here and your protocols: create content in your language or in Spanish. So people, when they are doing a research about crypto, they see your content there. So yeah, that's something we need to be working on.
So yeah, about the role of Bitcoin in Latin America, especially in 2017-18, Bitcoin paid the bills during the worst times of the Venezuelan decline of a lot of developers, a lot of hustlers, and it wasn't only just because it was an asset appreciating in value. I mean, these are people that had to pay the bills day to day. The beautiful thing about Bitcoin is because it's an asset that you didn't really need to get the permission of a country or an exchange to buy. People that were creating creative, like mining Bitcoin. There are a lot of now great Solidity developers from Venezuela because they learned how to then, with Ethereum, then write smart contracts, but they were introduced to the ecosystem through Bitcoin. A lot of people trading Bitcoin, also to make a living. A lot of Venezuelans that actually created OTCs in order to help other Venezuelans and Latin Americans exchange Bitcoin to fiat. So it's an asset that, because it was relatively easy to access compared to a stock, to a bond, etc., it allowed a lot of hustlers in Venezuela to get a job and to pay the bills. So it has been really a survival tool through the years. It still is nowadays, but during those dark years, it was especially useful.
Nice. There's an interesting anecdote on Argentina, in fact. Brian Armstrong was in Argentina when he first found out about Bitcoin, right? And
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so obviously Coinbase played a huge role in catalyzing this entire industry, so it's cool to sort of see that.
Yeah, Argentina. I started in crypto in 2012. By 2013, there was already a big community there, like 6 companies. Many of them are still alive. Then came much more. But Argentina and Venezuela, powered by hyperinflation and distrust on the government and so on, Bitcoin came as an alternative that you can trust, something that is still there, that is not controlled by anyone that can spoil it and then can, don't want to say bad words here, but with your money. And so, yeah, I think that drove a lot of interest, and it's still the best asset class on the crypto space that you can hold, even though stablecoins now means a big part of the pie because of the usability. When it comes to Bitcoin, I think it lacks that part. So that's why stablecoins eat that.
Yeah, there is no second best. I'm just kidding. So stablecoins, like Tether recently announced that they're going to soon ship Tether on the Lightning Network. Literally, the timeline was soon. So there's something really, really interesting with stablecoins, right? The world's largest remittance corridor is between Mexico and the United States. The United States to Mexico. $60 billion a year. 10% of that, you mentioned Bitso, is processed by Bitso. I do want to like switch to stablecoins and dive a little bit into that because that's like one of the use cases I absolutely think is fascinating, and I think it's where crypto has really found PMF. What are you looking forward to in the horizon for stablecoins, and how can we leverage stablecoins and DeFi ecosystems to bring more value and more utility to DeFi for people in the region? Mountain Protocol, which is founded by Latin Americans, is really exciting. There are a number of other players that are trying to engage with the region. Local stablecoins are launching now, right? There's a lot of movement in stablecoins in LatAm. Let's talk about what are the opportunities you're super excited for stablecoins in the region. Take it away.
Take it. You go.
All right. Well, I think you called it. In Argentina is already making so many changes because it is a fantastic use case. Yeah, there's so many inefficiencies. Any time you try to do any payment, even I'm based in Canada, and I try to pay something slightly above my the allowance my bank gives me, and I had to go in a call for like an hour to let them use my money and pay. I'm always like crypto solves this, and I work in, but I'm still forced to do this. So I think one of the challenges is for regulation to allow for more people to use it. I think there also needs to be innovation in the custody side of things, because it is a virtue of crypto. You can have self-custody, but also I think it's sometimes a downside, because I don't think everybody nor needs it nor wants to have self-custody of all their funds, right? So I think that there needs to be more trustless ways in which people can access. They can be secured, and through regulation, trust in that security, so that they can tap into this technology and use it reliably. There needs to be more people wanting to accept it, and I think that's also a product of having the right regulation, the right government intervention. But it's an effort that will have to happen in parallel in all these countries, and we need to be pushing that for sure.
I have one that I think is typical, just like he said, stablecoins are amazing, but I think there is a friction because there are so many stablecoins and there are so many blockchains, so there are so many stablecoins in so many blockchains. For the people I've been talking to that want to use stablecoins, like regular people that are not in crypto, like us, for example, they got completely crazy when they want to use stablecoins, because you can do USDC on Solana, but
is it bridged? Is it not?
So I think there are a lot of projects trying to solve that, but the project that can solve that and make it really useful for anyone, because when you use, for example, in Argentina, everyone uses dollars, hard dollars, like physical dollars in the bank, but it's just dollar. I mean, they don't even use euros, they're just dollars. So if we can solve that, so people can use a stablecoin, one stablecoin, or just a way of doing that without that friction, I think we can help them a lot. Don't know if it's possible. But.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm like stablecoins, really, really exciting. We've got about 6-7 minutes left here. Let's talk about builders, DeFi builders in Latin America. Anna, you spent a lot of time working with a lot of builders, and now with Eigen, even more so, right? So I'm curious, get your insights on learnings on kind of biggest pitfalls for builders in the region. How can we get more DeFi built in Latin America and used in Latin America?
Yeah, sure. Well, a context about builders in Latin America is that builders are growing very, very fastly. And this is because we are sharing the same language, and also Portuguese. 46 countries in Latin America, and all of those speak Spanish. And there is, of course, the biggest one as well, Brazil, that speaks Portuguese, and is very similar as well. We are talking to each other in Portuñol. We are very connected to each other, so that helps. That is like something that is moving and getting faster, because one day you have 10 builders, but tomorrow you have 50. So that is actually Latin America is the region that has been growing. Is the second fastest growing region in crypto. Every year to year, is growing around 40%. So for sure, you need to take a look about what is happening in Latin America. And yeah, that's one of the highlights. And some learnings, I guess, if we want to see more DeFi projects in Latin America or crypto in general, I guess one thing that we need to support are accelerators. bring mentors to the community, people in marketing, in growth, so they can build their projects, and also for sure hire someone from Latin America to to help you build your project. What else? You can also create initiatives with universities that are focused on engineering or also business. And then you can also create a hackathon. Yeah, these are the ways that I've been learning that has been helping to grow the Latin America, the crypto ecosystem in Latin America. And for sure, as I told you before, create content in Spanish, like with local newsletters or newspapers. So people in Latin America, when they make research about crypto, they find your project and they can see your project linked to a local newsletter that they see or local newspaper, so they have more confidence in your project. So yeah, I
Nice.
believe
Thank
that.
you. And Jesus, you are a up and coming builder, right? And so, as a sort of, in fact, Jesus is going through our accelerator program right now. Tell us more about your journey as a Latin American founder operating in the region. Like, how can, what do you need and what do other founders similar to you need to scale 100x from here?
Money.
More resources?
No, but
Aside from money.
Aside from money. No, jokes aside. Like in Latin America, because it's a even though we speak the same language, it's a very fractured region. Different jurisdictions, different governments. One time you have a right-wing government, another time left-wing government, and they all change regulations, economic policies, and it's difficult to build a business that is scalable across the region. And also I think because of that, there is also not entrepreneurship type of mindset, because it's difficult to really build and scale a business and be successful. So the first build is in Latin American businesses where people like Andres that are already entrepreneurs and they build successful businesses. Now what I see is a wave of Latin Americans that have been living in the US and Europe, they'll learn how to build businesses, and now they're bringing their knowledge to Latin America, which is my case. Because in my case, like I left Venezuela 12 years ago, I worked in banking for 10 years, and I saw around me how many of my friends were in London, in Europe, becoming entrepreneurs. I learned from them, and eventually I got the mindset that really allowed me and one of my partners, another Venezuelan, to build the business that we have these days. So definitely education is needed. The accelerator program has been really a blessing for us. And this is the type of programs that really allow Latin Americans to teach, look, there is a network that can help you to grow a business. There are examples like Ripio. There are businesses from Latin America that now have reached a scale, and there are people and mentors that can help you into how to get there, right? So education and I think better entrepreneurship like mindset is needed. But education eventually will definitely get us there. And also having examples of successful entrepreneurs will bring more people into trying something from scratch.
Nice, awesome, thank you. So we have a couple minutes left. If there are any questions in the audience, feel free to put your hand up and ask away. Go for it.
I was just curious about something. It's kind of a broad term, but I look at projects sometimes outside the U.S., just in general stuff, and try to be progressive in the fintech crypto area, which up until recently, which we've all talked about, things have shifted in Washington. But I'm looking like down in the countries that you're talking about are in Latin America, and I know that there's a lot of issues and a lot of economic needs. Would you say that is there any sort of like desperation in terms of motivation, or is it, I was just wondering how you might feel about that word in terms of your perspective, or if it's just more of a fundamental thing, or what's happening, or any thoughts there, if you could just curious.
Yeah, so we had a couple of hands up. So desperation, go for it.
So I understand that this is the network, DeFi in Latin
Yeah.
America. So question to you all. So you all are busy. So if you guys are also
Sipping to your list, tears.
because day by day AI and crypto is becoming integrated, because we all kind of it's confirmed that the payment that AI system is going to use is basically going to be a digital payment system, and
Okay, cool. Any other questions? We'll take one more, and then we'll just go ahead and answer those wherever necessary. Go for it.
How important is the involvement of the youth or early stage crypto people in the local governments? And do you see like any sort of government is government getting involved at the government level in how it's developed?
Okay, so youth, AI and crypto, and are people desperate to use this technology? Feel free to take it.
I'll take AI crypto quickly. Yes, absolutely. Very much interested. Very much looking into it. I think there's a lot of things we can do with DeFi. That's it.
I take the desperation bit. So you don't know what you don't know. Latin America have been used to not have access to a lot of things. And you don't know, you don't have access to those things until you suddenly, oh wow, I haven't seen this before. So it's, yes, desperation is really what drove a lot of Venezuelans into crypto because how do I earn money? But these days, it's more about the need. Like, there are a lot of financial products available across the world. People in Latin America that don't have it, and once you offer them this to them, they're like, oh wow, this is changing my life. I didn't know I could have access to this easily.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the AI and crypto. Yeah, for sure. Like there are a lot of startups in Mexico working in AI already, and now they are starting to learn about blockchain, so they integrate it. And about desperation, well, it depends because each country in Latin America is different. So you have Venezuela, you have Argentina, like 46 in Mexico. I see a lot of opportunity in terms of that people now have an option to get access to US dollars and because of the remittances. And now they can also access to yield-bearing stablecoins, which gives them a yield by only holding USDC, for example.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I'll echo what we said here on desperation. Agree. There's definitely desperation in the sense that people suffer from the inequality, the lack of infrastructure and tools. But I don't think that the desperation is necessarily targeted to crypto because they just don't know that it could be a fix, right? But I think that educating and showing them that could definitely satisfy, tackle that desperation and tied to that to the youth. I think the access that the youth is having in Mexico and all of Latin America is definitely going to be a big driver of adoption because they can educate. They can show, hey, parents, you've been desperate all your life. Here's a solution. Let's make our governments regulate this so that we can access it in the way that we deserve it, right?
This screen is saying, please wrap up, please, multiple exclamation marks. So just quickly to answer your question, I think the youth is super important. I think education is at the foundation of this entire ecosystem and super bullish on that. Again, thank you all for coming. There are rumors of a really big conference happening later this year in Buenos Aires. To be confirmed, check the prediction markets. I don't know. But again, thank you all and a big round of applause for the amazing panelists here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.